All right, I want to talk to you first about the bedroom because you are a former adult film star. We're going to dig into that a little bit.
A sinner.
A sinner, right. Former adult film star. His website, you can go to it if you want. Don't do it now, though, because do it after the interview, stirlingcooper.com. And now you're doing like advice, not just related to sex, although I do see a lot of that on your Twitter feed that you pump, but it's like male improvement at large, really. Would you say that?
Yeah, because I think the two are very intimately connected.
And there's so many men not having sex that want to be having sex right now, is the thing.
And it's I look at the bedroom as like a microcosm, a reflection of like the relationship at large. When things are going well in the bedroom, they tend to go really well outside the bedroom. The relationship tends to be more harmonious.
Right.
People tend to be, in their polarities, they're masculine and they're feminine.
Yeah.
When everything is sort of in line in the bedroom. And when it's not in line like that in the bedroom, that's when things tend to get out of whack.
Like a domino effect of chaos in
Very
the
much.
house. Yes.
Very much so. Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about, is it a book called The 5 Subtle Mistakes Men Make in the Bedroom and How to Fix Them?
All my books are ebooks.
Okay, so
that's a free one, yeah.
Okay, you have this ebook out and the title was interesting to me. So talk to me about what are some of these mistakes that guys are making that are easy to fix. Let's go.
Well, okay, let's start with what I just talked about, the masculine feminine polarity, right? The one is that dudes aren't leading in the bedroom.
Okay.
Right. Now, maybe this is because they're not confident, low self-esteem, they're a bit shy, a bit unsure of what to do. But whatever the cause is, the problem is that they're not leading their partner in the bedroom. They're not, taking control of the sexual interaction. And they're expecting the woman to tell them what to do, show them what to do. They're expecting to have some sort of conversation back and forth about what to do. Right, rather than just being the man stepping up and taking the risk of maybe making a mistake here and there, which is totally fine, right? And I'm not saying doing anything obviously, untoward.
Right.
You know what I'm getting at. But step one, being the leader in that bedroom, because that masculine and feminine polarity, like I talked about, is very, very important. And women like a guy who is, quote unquote, dominant in the bedroom. That's a pretty good way of describing it. In general, is this dominant energy, right? Because what does that do to her? Well, that allows her to be present in the moment because she all responsibility is now on his shoulders. When a guy steps up and leads in the bedroom, is more dominant in the bedroom, she can just relax. He's got everything handled. He can take care of it. She doesn't have to be in her head. And when a woman is in her head, that is the antithesis of her being able to climax, basically. A woman can't climb. I mean, tell me if I'm wrong. Please, I'd love to know if I'm wrong about any of this.
Oh, we're going to have a debate now. Oh, I love it.
I'm not trying to debate.
Yeah, no.
I like to be told I'm correct all the time.
Right.
But there you go. But if a woman's in her head, she can't climax. If she's either, say, thinking about her worries from the day, or maybe she's just thinking about what is he doing? He doesn't know what he looks insecure in what he's trying to do. He looks unsure. Okay, that's making me nervous as a woman.
Right.
So now I'm in my head, and it's the completely wrong energy. We're going the wrong way down. We're going into a negative spiral, right? So, yeah, dudes leading in the bedroom is very, very important. I think along that same line, guys trying too hard to please their partner. This might sound a bit paradoxical, but let me elaborate. So guys trying too hard to please their partner. If a guy is in the bedroom with a woman and he doesn't want to please his partner, but he needs to, his self-esteem would be destroyed if she didn't climax, right? That needy energy, women can pick up on instantly.
Yeah, that's true.
Instantaneously, they'll pick up on that in the bedroom. So he's coming across really needy, desperate to please her, and maybe he's how do I say this in a polite way where he's in between her legs with his head for an extended period of time, trying to
and not making it happen to boot.
Yeah, he's not making it happen because she can tell that she can tell that he is just too desperate to make this happen.
So basically like a frazzled guy who's trying to make her happy, but and I wonder if that also is then the guy's not really in the moment either. No one's in the moment.
He's in his head.
Right.
Because energy is contagious. When you're in the bedroom as a guy, and you want to be the leader. Again, this is not just physically, but this is also mentally. If you go there first, she's going to follow you. So if you're feeling confident and comfortable, she's going to feel confident and comfortable around you in that situation with you. If you feel nervous and unsure of what you're doing, she's going to feel nervous and unsure, and then that's going to make her feel unsafe, actually, in the bedroom. A woman feels a lot more safe in the bedroom with the guy who knows what the hell he's doing, right? And then, oddly enough, those kind of guys are actually able to do things to her that she enjoys, which might be a bit more extreme. You know, you kind of know where I'm going with that.
Right.
But that comes down to him being confident in what he's doing and leading her there confidently and with self-esteem, and not being skittish, like you said, not half-stepping, not doubting himself, because the moment he doubts himself, that she starts to doubt him in the bedroom, and she starts to feel unsafe. And that's really, really important for men to make their partner feel safe and comfortable in the bedroom, but in a way that is not, how do I say that? In a way that is not like you're sitting there running down a checklist.
Right.
And you're just going through like a consent form, you know? There's this big push to try and say this idea of like consent is sexy, right? And obviously everyone wants consent. Like you shouldn't be doing anything like this if there isn't any consent in the first place. To me, that's like obvious. But I can tell you as a guy who's shot professional BDSM scenes that there's nothing that destroys sexual tension quicker than sitting there and going through a checklist of what you can and can't do to your partner.
Can you imagine? I can't.
So I know I've been in that situation, and I know how much it destroys sexual tension. So when people say like, "Oh, consent is sexy," and you know, women like a guy who, I always hear women say this whenever I ask them, "What do you like in a guy in the bedroom?" It's like, "Oh, someone who communicates." No, you don't.
No,
you really don't, though.
That's what they say.
They say that. They'll always say communicate or communication. They'll
it's
say
not time
communication.
for a debate, honey. It's not a discussion.
But here's my interpretation, and maybe I'm wrong, but I think I'm right. Here's my interpretation of what they actually mean when women will say they value communication in the bedroom. They want a man who can read her body language properly.
Right.
So then she doesn't actually have to say anything. He should be able to pick up on her body language, on her vibe. Okay, she's comfortable with what I'm doing right now, or she just tensed up a little bit. Cool, we're not going to go that way.
Right.
We're going to try something different now. Right. Because that explains to her, okay, this guy can tell if I'm uncomfortable. Big green tick. Right. He's got a bit of experience, obviously, because otherwise he wouldn't be able to tell this. That's another big green tick. So there's all these really subtle things. And a lot of guys these days are very, very worried about, you know, Me Too allegations and whatnot in the bedroom and things like that. And I can completely understand why they would be concerned about this. But one of the best ways to kind of get around that and avoid that entirely is not to be afraid of women, not to be afraid of the bedroom, and not to be afraid of pursuing things that are a bit more, say, edgy, right? Because they're actually very enjoyable for your partner. But more to understand body language cues in the women when you're in bedroom. So you know, okay, I know that I won't push a boundary.
Yep.
Because you don't want to ever go past someone's boundary in the bedroom in that way. And look, if you make a mistake, if you do, that's fine. Just don't go there again. Pull back and change direction, right? But guys coming into the bedroom being very, very timid and afraid like that isn't helping them from the very start.
Interesting. And you've had, by the way, people in the chat is open today. I will be reading the super chats. If you have a question for me, if you have a question for Stirling, please, we're going to get to all of them. So please ask away, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. You know you need to do it. So as somebody I'm interested, I have a bunch of comments on this. One was that, you know, you're talking about women and when they can and can't climax. Women really, and I talk about this in life, women need to feel peace. Like they can't feel stressed in any area of life to be productive. So if we're in the bedroom and we're stressed, it's not happening. Yeah. If we're in the bedroom and we're nervous, it's not happening. If we're in the bedroom and we're thinking, why is he doing that? Blah, blah, blah. Second, our mind starts going too much. And by the way, this happens with work, in regular life. We just freeze. We don't operate well like that. So that's why women like a dominant man, because you come in, you take charge. We're like, oh, he's got this. We get to kind of relax. And when we are peaceful, everything runs smoother. It runs smoother for us and then hence for you and for the whole experience. So I would agree with that. But as somebody who's, I mean, you've had a lot of sex. I mean, let's just be open about it. A lot.
Probably a little bit more than average, yeah.
Just a tad. And I'm curious though, you know, you've had a lot of sex with people who you haven't had any emotion with. Obviously, you worked in the adult film industry, so maybe you had, you know, some polite exchange or whatever. You're not in love, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And then I'm sure you've been in relationships where, you know, there are emotions involved and whatnot. Do you observe different things about women in those two cases? Like what's different? Because what I would think, if I were a woman, let me be straight with you. If I were a woman and say I was single, you and I went out on a date, in the back of my mind would be like, oh, this guy, like, he's had sex for a living. Like, he's going to do this and it's just going to be like a thing he does. It's not going to mean anything. You know, that would go through a woman's mind. Have you encountered that? Or
so,
like,
interesting question. A little bit of an secret insight into the adult film world.
Okay.
Every single professional performer, not necessarily like OnlyFans people, right? But people who work in the professional side of the industry with the big film cameras and stuff like that. All of them in their private life back home when the cameras are off, it's just missionary.
Really?
Because they're bored of doing, like, they don't want to work. You spend all day, like, turning upside down and doing ridiculous things.
I love it.
All day, for hours on end. You're like, I just want simple, peaceful, like 5 minutes done. Like, simple
really?
stuff. Like,
wow.
Obviously enjoyable and passionate.
Enjoyable, but not like
but it's
acrobatic?
Not acrobatic and complex. No.
I love it.
It doesn't really turn into that. Yeah, people have this impression of like your favorite adult star is going to be like crazy in their private life. Most of the time, no. Mm-hmm. And this is not just me. This is like everyone else I've talked to in the industry. Who say has a partner back home, whatever.
Would you date a woman who had been in the adult film?
I used to when I first got in. I dated, but it was mostly like a networking thing, if I'm being honest.
Wouldn't that be weird for a guy generally?
I mean, yeah, it's not like ideal. I definitely don't do that anymore. I wouldn't do that anymore.
Right.
But at the time, it was like it was really like a networking move,
right?
Because that's the way guys get work is like women. One of the big ways is women recommending you. And if you are with someone who is in the industry already, okay, then you should try this guy. You should try booking this guy because she's not even going to tell the director I'm dating him. Wow. But she'll recommend you to a bunch of dudes. So
do you hear from guys that are trying to mimic that acrobatic stuff and like try to do all that stuff they see, they look at, you know, TV, whatever, and they're just, is that grouped into the trying too hard and going the wrong way?
I think if a dude's trying to pull off the pile driver move on like a first date, I don't even
know what that is, and I don't need an explanation.
Don't Google it.
I don't need to know.
It's awful. It's terrible for everyone involved. No one enjoys that. It's just. I mean, you might look, if you're in a relationship with a girl and you might pull that out of the bag you must just try it for fun. And then I guarantee you won't enjoy it. And you'll probably never do it again. But that is something I have heard from women is these, especially like younger dudes who are watching a lot of pornographic material. They'll try to replicate things they see in porn. And what they don't understand is what I just talked about before is like, you know, being confident in what you're doing, being able to read a woman's body language, understanding a woman's body, knowing how it works, right? That's important to be able to do these more sort of extreme or more elaborate or more dominant sexual acts. Because if you don't know what you're doing, either you're going to hurt yourself or you're going to hurt her or something. It's just going to be super awkward and uncomfortable and not enjoyable. And you're going to make yourself look like a jackass.